All right, let's go ahead and move on to this Epstein story, of which there has been notably no commentary in the Republican media, which was previously very interested in any Epstein-type story. So Michael Wolff, we'll call him a controversial
I think this
journalist.
Is part of the reason why is because it's Michael Wolff.
No, it's because it's about Trump and not about a Democrat.
Who's it coming from?
Anyway, Michael Wolff, who wrote Fire and Fury, released a bunch of audio recordings that he had with the late Jeffrey Epstein, specifically talking about his relationship with Donald Trump. Notably, in one, he talks about how close friends he was with Donald Trump for 10 years, and he also seems to have some inside information about the Trump White House after Trump wins in 2016, which would also indicate, he had not been excised from Trump's circle to the extent that Trump had previously claimed. Let's take a listen to that.
So how do you know this?
That was close to straight.
I think we have a snippet from one of the conversations that I recorded with Epstein, and I think this was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other.
Right.
And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag, and Priest is not doing a good job, and Kelly has a big mouth. And what do you think? Jamie Dimon says that you're a problem, and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn, and Carl thinks I need a new spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne is just too much of a wild card. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
We can put the tear sheet up on the screen here. This is from the Daily Beast that reported on the contents of this audio. They say they did an audio analysis and matched Epstein's voice to, previous depositions that he had given. In addition to the comments we played, he also claimed lots of intimate knowledge of Trump's sexual preferences, including liking to cuck other married men, claimed that he had sex with Melania for the first time on the Lolita Express. Make of it whatever you will. I'll just say that, if this was about any Democrat, if it was about Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, whoever, you would endlessly hear about it from Republicans. And, Jeffrey Epstein, the king of global elite pedophilia, having a close relationship with Donald Trump, which again, some of this is already in the public, and they just completely ignore it, it says a lot about their consistency and their principle when it comes to this and literally anything else.
I get, yeah, obviously. I don't know. It's just one of those you're telling me that people who are obsessed with pedophilia on the internet are weird, partisan, and don't have consistent standards. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Definitely true. In terms of the Fire and Fury author, Michael Wolff, the weird thing about Michael Wolff is he had these tapes for years.
Yeah.
Because I think I did a whole monologue about it back in 2020, if I recall. Also, Wolff, if he didn't have the audio, I straight up just wouldn't believe it. Basically, if it's not on tape, I don't believe it, because Wolff made up so much stuff, particularly in his second book, the one that came out after Fire and Fury, which he was paid millions of dollars for. So, to a certain extent, unless you literally have it basically on tape, I don't believe it. In terms of whether Epstein's telling the truth, in terms of he lied a lot about a lot of different people. This is running for cover for Trump. This is basically for all the people who are around him. And most of the people who had connections with him are definitely sketchy. In terms of Trump's own comments, the one you can nail him dead to rights was that comment he made in 1992 where he's like, Jeffrey, he likes him young, where you're like, ugh, all right. Well, it's well, what knowledge exactly did we have here? In terms of the other
and we know he was on the plane a bunch of times.
Yeah, he was on the plane. I'm not running cover here for Donald Trump or whatever. If you want to call out the pedophilia people online, sure, but, they have a whole worldview.
It's not just the pedophilia people. This has been a big narrative on the right for years. And it's just very convenient that when you have Jeffrey Epstein on tape being yeah, he was my bestie, and, plenty of documentary evidence that suggests that that was in fact the case, Nothing. Total silence.
Well, they can QAnon themselves into, I mean, I remember during Q times, there was oh man, this is a throwback, but there was this whole theory about how he was actually in with him so he could get inside knowledge to imprison them all. So, you know, Krystal, you just haven't been exposed enough to the conspiratorial mind.
I guess not.
How they can justify
It's also funny
everything.
too, whenever Trump gets asked about Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever, gets very cagey. Remember when he got asked about Ghislaine Maxwell and he was like,
I wish her
her
best.
well.
Yeah, I do remember.
He got
That was
asked
in
again
2020.
recently, I think during this campaign, about will you release, you know, the JFK files and the UFO files and the Epstein files? And basically the JFK and the UFO ones, he was like, yeah, no problem. He was like, Epstein, I don't know. I don't want, you know, personal people and their reputations.
Yeah, I
like
do
he
remember
was
that.
very hedging around the release of the Epstein files, which again would be, you know, used as an indictment if it was against any Democrat that's out there. But, you know, for Republicans who are just interested in the story, if it happens to go against their own political adversaries, not a word. They're busy running with the, like, you know, the Diddy list now
Yes, of course.
with regards to Democrats. So, you know, they've shifted their attention, also ignoring, you know, plenty of photos out there too of Donald Trump picture with
One of my
Diddy as
great
well.
life regrets is I sat next to Alex Acosta on a plane and I did not accost him about the Epstein stuff. It was late. We were coming from Miami. It was like a midnight flight, but
Remind people who
oh, he was the Secretary of Labor under Donald Trump. He was the prosecutor who gave Epstein the sweetheart deal
In
that cut
Florida.
him loose in Florida and allowed him to go to the Palm Beach County Jail and continue to victimize people. But I still am angry at myself for not having the courage to cause a scene on the plane and stick a camera in his face and be like, "Why did you do it, Mr. Acosta?" But you know, and I was the only person who obviously even knew who he was. Well, the funny thing, but there you go.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.